At Royal Roads University, before every presentation, we would like to acknowledge that we are located in the land of the Lekwungen and the Kwassamson peoples and families. For us, it's a pleasure to be here today, working in this land where Indigenous and non-Indigenous faculty, students, alumni, and community come together to build our future. So welcome, everyone. And this will be an invitation for you to share where are you joining us today from, which traditional land, and maybe if you want to share, are you currently taking a program in any of our college partners? So feel free to add that information in the chat box. So today we are going to talk about our Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science. I'm going to be co-hosting this session with Mickie. Mickie, would you like to say a few words?
Thanks, Andrea. Good afternoon, everybody, or at least it's afternoon where I am. We are very happy to have you joining us today. My name is Mickie Noble, and I'm the program head for the Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science program, and I am quite excited to tell you all about all the things that we have been up to lately. So, onward, onward.
Thank you, Mickie. And my name is Andrea Torres, and I'm the Student Recruitment Manager, and I'm going to be co-hosting this session today with Mickie and a few more people that you will not be able to see, but they are going to be sharing some information with us in the chat box. As well, if you have any technical issues, please reach out to Nancy, and she will be happy to help you. And if you have any questions during webinar or after webinar, our enrollment team will be able to assist you. And thank you, Rhonda, for being today with us. So the agenda for today is once we want to get to know each other. So you already have an idea who we are and why we're here, but we also want to learn more about who you are. And as I said, if you would like to share some information, maybe which province or city are you joining us today, and any other details. I'm going to talk really briefly about Royal Roads University and the experience, and then Mickie is going to speak more about the program-specific information and share many other details with you. At the end, we are going to talk about the application process and the requirements. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type those questions and we will cover them through the session. So Royal Roads University is located in Victoria, BC, around 25 minutes from our downtown area. Here are some pictures of our space. So we have the Halley Castle, the Japanese Garden, and the beautiful Esquimalt Lagoon. We always, through Royal Roads programs, we want to make sure that people have that opportunity to connect, and we create a learning community. That online learning, that community can be done online, or sometimes we also do it in our programs when we offer those programs on campus. Royal Roads University has a vision that we want to make change in our communities, and that has created for us an opportunity to be part of the Ashoka U Changemaker campuses. So basically, our programs are designed to provide relevant information, innovate, and transform learning experience for those that wish to develop skills and in a dynamic context. So now I would like to pass to you, Mickie, to talk more about the program details.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. Can you shift to the next slide, please? So we would like to, this is our lab. This is a new part of our facilities. It opened 2 years ago, and we are very pleased with it. The piece that you can't see actually has floor-to-ceiling windows along the one side of the lab. So lots of natural light, and that's pretty great because this is the location where you would be doing your lab work, whether you're interested in the online or the on-campus version of the program. So this is an integrated and interdisciplinary program. It is really quite interesting because you're getting a BSc, but you're also going to know things about sustainable development and economics and law and land use and planning. You're also going to know about statistics and EMS systems. We will teach you lots of different sciences. So you'll know things about chemistry and ecotoxicology and applied microbiology. And you'll also have an opportunity to work on a team-based major project, which is essentially a consulting project for an external sponsor that will give you some real-world work experience as we're going through the program as well. There are two versions for the program, and what you really need to do is ask yourself which version is going to best support my learning in the context of my life. So if you are interested in doing your courses while you're working from home, you might be interested in our blended version of the program, where you'll come for three-week residencies spaced throughout your program to do your lab and field work, and the rest of the time you'll be working online. It's a good opportunity for those who are working full-time or have home or family commitments that they don't want to be able to leave their home community for. Alternatively, we have the on-campus program, which is conducted completely face-to-face, and you will do year 3 and year 4 in one calendar year. So you'll join us in September and finish at the end of August, and it will be a very interesting and exciting journey on the way. Oh, got there. There we go. I'm slightly ahead of myself, apparently. All right. So in the on-campus version of the program, you will come to campus. Your program will start off with an introduction to academic integrity, which is a small online piece that you can basically do in about a weekend. It's really to get you oriented to expectations around copyright, using references, those kinds of things. September is our foundations period, so you'll have lots of orientation sessions with different parts of the campus. We will send you running around outside to do many things, scavenger hunt and a few other things, so that you become familiar with the campus that you will be spending a lot of time learning on. First quarter runs from October to December, and that first quarter is really a lot of orientation kinds of courses. So foundations of math and foundations of chemistry, biology, making sure that everybody is up to speed with a lot of the course content that we're going to be working towards, as well as an atmospheric and oceanic sciences course. And a really exciting communications course that talks a lot about digital media and how digital media is used to communicate science to the general public, which is pretty cool. Second quarter gets into more of your science courses, so January to the end of March, and so that would be applied microbiology and environmental chemistry and a few other things like that. Third quarter runs from March to May, and then we're getting sort of into sort of our higher level courses, and so including ecotoxicology, environmental processes. What else are they taking this term? Should probably know that. And fourth quarter, June to August, your major projects are wrapping up at that point, and we are on the home stretch for law, environmental economics, and some of those, again, higher level decision-making courses that, that you'll finish your program off with. For the blended program, same basically arc of courses, but spaced a little differently. So again, you'll have that introduction to academic integrity. Residency 1 will happen in May, so you'll have some field courses, some field and lab courses. So you'll run 3 courses at the time that you're there, and we'll do some orientation activities. You'll get to know both your cohort and the cohort that started a year ago, because you'll be having some classes with them too. When you get to your first distance period, which will run from June till April, so you'll be at home for that year, you'll take 1 or 2 courses at a time, with the expectation that, you know, you're still working and having whatever family obligations that you have during that period. You'll come back for residency 2. And in residency 2, you will again be doing some lab and field work, but you'll get to know the cohort that starts after you, because you'll have courses with them through the second distance period. And then you'll come back for a final residency to wrap up your program in that last May period. And then we'll turn you loose onto the world to hopefully make the world a better place. All right, so prerequisites for this program. We are looking for a GPA of B, so 3 out of 4. We need you to have 2 courses in chemistry with a lab component, 2 in biology, 2 in math, physics. At least one of those should be algebra or calculus. 1 can be statistics, and 2 courses in writing or communications. The rest of it's kind of up to you. You may have done a diploma program that had a set of courses, in which case, definitely check out all our transfer agreements to see if your program transfers in. But even if it doesn't, don't panic. Just send us the transcript of what you've got. And our admin team, including Rhonda, will go carefully through it and then send it to me for some recommendations, and we'll see what we can do. After you get done, everybody always wants to be employed, and often being employed requires professional certifications of one kind or another. Eco-Canada is the only national certification for environmental professionals in Canada, and our program is certified by Eco-Canada. So when you finish, you will get credit towards your environmental professional in training designation through Eco-Canada, and they have access to job boards, all kinds of professional development opportunities, mentoring opportunities, and also some wage funding programs. So that's kind of a cool opportunity. You may qualify through other organizations like RP Bio, PAG would be the 2 that stand out most often. Although those certifications do vary from province to province, so you'll want to check their website for what the requirements are in the province that you're intending to work. But our program doesn't necessarily totally align or fit those programs on its own. So for instance, if you're interested in pursuing a registered professional biologist designation, if your diploma or past experience contains lots and lots of biology courses, that plus your work at railroads may combine to qualify you for that, or you may be close and still need to pick up a couple of courses afterwards. Other opportunities. Well, this one's a new one, so this is kind of neat. Study abroad is a new opportunity for the program. It's not something you can do during your program because it's condensed, and most of the time the partner organizations don't have something that would completely replace the courses that you would be taking. But it's a great opportunity for something that you could do in your first semester after you finish. So if you think you want to study or work abroad, this can be a great way to get a foot in the door. And there are partner institutions in Japan and Chile. And I've also looked at one. Andrea, where else did you send me ones to look at recently?
I think that might would be Nancy. Yeah, I'm not 100% familiar with the other options available right now, Mickie.
I think there were some in Europe, and there might have been one in another one in South America as well. So that's opportunities that are growing all the time. And Nancy Shop is definitely involved in some of our new opportunities that you can use to build your degree afterwards. Okay, why do employers like our grads? Because they know how to do all kinds of interesting things besides just science. So they know about communication skills. They are good with lab and field work. They have the ability to really think about complex problems from a number of different kinds of places. And they tend to have really good team skills because you're going to practice those team skills. One of the things that our grads are very aware of is that putting people in a group doesn't make them a team. And so learning those skills for how to move those team pieces forward is really important in today's world. You can do more than just science. You'll be able to talk to the people that do science, that do policy, that do all of these other things. And that kind of interdisciplinary knowledge is really important as we start to move towards solving the world's bigger problems. What can you do after this? The $20,000 question. At one point, the university's motto was, you can get there from here. Yeah, pretty much. So it really depends on what you think you want to do next. Our grads have really gone into all kinds of things. They are environmental consultants, they are environmental managers. I know one deputy minister that is a former grad of our program. They've been research assistants. They are environmental officers for all kinds of NGOs and communities. They are policymakers. They've gone on to grad school in lots of different disciplines. We've graduated a handful of environmental lawyers at this point. Quite a number of school teachers that have environment as their specialization. So it really is a question of, what do you think you want to do next?
Mickie, before we move ahead to the application process, I got two questions for you. The first one is, can you share a little more about how a day or a week can look for those students that are fully on campus versus the students are online?
Sure. Students that are fully on campus, we generally have classes between 8:30 and 4:30. Now, there is the chance of an odd evening class because some of our associate faculty, which are people that teach for rural roads, but they have another job. So very often they work for provincial government or something like that in the field in which they have their expertise. Sometimes they have to teach in the evening. So that can be something that happens, although it's not something that happens often. You would have your classes in generally 90-minute blocks. So 4 90-minute blocks in a day, or 2 90-minute blocks and a lab period or a field exercise. Some weeks are very full. Some weeks are less so. It depends a little bit on what else is going on. But that's generally what that would look like. And you would be expecting to spend your evenings on homework or lab assignments. For those that are doing the blended program, we have worked on the assumption that you are working full-time. And so you will, go to work and then have time that you're working on your homework. We generally suggest students expect that they should be spending 30 to 40 hours a week on coursework. It may be less than that if the course that you are taking is an area that you have a fair amount of experience and expertise in. It may be closer to 40 hours if this is a course that you are brand new to and you feel like you need to spend more time on. I usually recommend for students in the blended program that it's really important to talk to your employer, talk to your family and your significant other about what that's going to look like, so everybody knows when your school hours are. Because it makes it much easier if people know, oh no, we shouldn't ask you to dinner on Thursday night because Thursday night's your homework night, right? Similarly, instructors, particularly in the blended program, are aware of the fact that sometimes life happens, and it's up to you to communicate quickly to instructors when it does. But we do try and be flexible with things that just can't be helped. So as an example, I had a student a couple of years ago that was attached to the Canadian Armed Forces. He sent me the best excuses for not being able to hand things in during the course that I taught. So one of the best ones I got was, I won't be online for the next 4 weeks because I am chasing the Americans around the Arctic. Because they were on exercise. So, it happens. The blended courses that are distance courses are not self-paced. You're still expected to march along with your cohort, but everybody also realizes that everybody's got a life, and sometimes life is not really all that smooth.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Mickie. Is the blended version of lectures via Zoom or pre-recorded sessions, synchronous, asynchronous? How that lecture component looks like?
Very often, most instructors try and keep things asynchronous, just to be respectful of the fact that you have classmates that may be in different time zones. It is not uncommon for people in the same distance course to be geographically spread out between Victoria and the Maritimes and the Arctic Circle. So, you know, trying to be aware of that. Most instructors try not to have too many synchronous sessions. Synchronous sessions, if they happen, will happen on Zoom. Many instructors use synchronous sessions for things like drop-in office hours or to introduce a unit. But what you'll generally find is that the instructor will open the entire course on the morning that it opens so that you can look at the schedule for the whole course and go, okay, this is what I need to do to kind of plan out how this is going to work. And, you know, ideally you look at that in the first couple of days of the course. And, you know, for instance, if you know you're being sent away on field work, let the instructor know right away so that we can make arrangements for, you know, equivalent but different if that's something that needs to happen for you.
I have a few questions actually, so I'm going to keep those questions now, Mickie, for you. The next one is, you talk a little bit about the teamwork component. Can you share a little more about maybe who are the people that are taking this program, how big the class might look like? I know it changes year by year, but maybe an average, and also how that teamwork looks like, what people can expect.
Okay. We are very fortunate at Royal Roads to have access to a team coach, and Julie is awesome. She will be working with you guys to talk about what makes a team. How do we come to an agreement about when is good enough, and all of these kinds of things that you kind of have to negotiate as you're working together as a team, right? How do we negotiate internal deadlines for a team? All of those kinds of things will be things that Julia will be working with you throughout the program on. So teamwork is in most courses, even distance courses, you will have an opportunity to and an expectation to participate in teamwork. Sometimes the teamwork takes the part of just online discussions and you need to contribute to the online discussions. Sometimes you will be working with other people to produce a report of some kind or do research and produce a report. In my class, we have an online symposium that we run in my distance class, and my class actually is due in another 3 or 4 weeks. They and a partner will have generated either PowerPoint or Prezi or little videos to tell us about what they've been researching this term. So there might be all kinds of different ways that teamwork might kind of evolve. For the on-campus group, you'll be doing your teamwork face-to-face, obviously. You will still be working with Julia on all of those mechanics of teamwork kinds of things. How to give and receive feedback is a really important takeaway from both programs. So it's, yeah, there's a lot going on. Everybody tends to be really invested in the teamwork, which it makes it to be quite a good experience. And of course, Julia is there to help you smooth it over for the times when it doesn't go as smoothly as would be nice.
I have to say, I was a Royal Roads student a few years ago, and teamwork was my favorite, most challenging, but I think the one I learned the most, because it's a safe space to challenge like point of view, ways of doing, and you can take that back to the workplace. Yeah, it's a skill that you will use forever. So yeah, we're very grateful that we have those coaches help us to navigate when challenges arrive, and also setting how each team is, the dynamics of each team, and how we agree to work together.
Yeah. And it's a really important skill in any field, but it's sort of a neat skill to take to the workplace as a science graduate, because very often people don't expect science graduates to actually be good at that kind of thing.
Interesting. Thank you, Mickie. So I think that is my last question for now, but if people have more questions, please type them on the chat box or send it directly in a private message to me, and I will be covering them as we go. So now I'm going to walk people through the application process. So right rules, there are two options. You can come through standard admissions or flexible admissions. However, when you're applying, there is no a box that you need to check. The person that is assessing your application, they will decide if you are coming through standards or flexible admissions. And as Mickie mentioned before, if your college maybe is not currently listed as part of our transfer partners, don't worry about it. We're really good to have that personal connection. If we have questions, we will reach out back to you. If we're unsure about something, we will make sure that we connect with you. So for standard admissions, we are looking for people that are the completion of an approved transfer program with a minimum of a GPA of 3 average, that would be a B. Or if maybe your school or your program is not currently listed as part of our transfer programs, we are looking for the completion of prerequisites courses with a B average in each of the courses, and the completion of an Arts of Science diploma or 60 credits, including a minimum of 24 credits in the second year. And once again, we are looking for a B of a GPA, and we are looking for from a recognized post-secondary institution in Canada or anywhere in the world. If you're not sure about all the details that I shared with you, please reach out to our enrollment advisors, and we will be happy to have that conversation and navigate that admissions requirements with you. If none of the ones that I mentioned apply to you, we have something that we call flexible admissions. So basically, we understand that everybody's journey is slightly different, and how we have started our career, where we are in our career, it has been a different path. So for that reason, for the people that don't meet the standard admissions requirements, we are going to assess you different. So most of the time, we are looking for the prerequisites of the courses for a B average and significant relevant work experience. Mickie, can I ask you what is relevant work experience for a BSc program will look like?
If you have been working in the environmental field for a while, you might have relevant work experience, particularly if you were doing lab or field analysis of some kind. Generally, we are still going to be looking for your 24 second year credits and your biology, chemistry, math prerequisites, because if you don't have those, we find you're not successful in the program. But if, for instance, you are short some of the first year credits, we might make that up with some relevant work experience. Something else to know, if you are in the Canadian Armed Forces, when you apply, make sure you get a copy of your training record and send that as well, because sometimes that relevant work experience is hidden in your training record. So something to know as well.
Thank you, Mickie. So now the most exciting piece is how to apply. So first you need to complete an online application. If you're coming through one of our transfer agreements partners, you all need to do is submit your official transcripts. So that is the first step if you're coming through that transfer agreements pathways, as well as looking into the prerequisites. If you are a flexible admissions applicant, we might also ask you to submit a detailed resume. For the detailed resume, it's very important that you provide all the details about your credit and non-credit education. For these ones is, as we have spoken a little bit about, it's important to know about the 60 credits, 24 credits in the second year, so as much detail as you can provide. Of course, we are going to see that information in your transcripts, but it's important for us to know about your education and also any work experience that you might have, or you are currently working, volunteer experience, any professional or affiliation that you are part of. So basically what we are looking for this is to understand full picture. And as we say, this might be an additional document that we request. We also look for a personal statement. For personal statement, it's basically what I tell people is we want to know about the motivation, then why you're applying to the program, what also you are going to bring, what is the knowledge that you have to share with others, and how this program is going to help you to advance your professional career. And the last document are 2 letters of reference. If you feel comfortable, please share the personal statement with the people that are writing those letters, so they have a better idea why you're applying, and they can add more details and provide additional information about your education or your career.
Just before you go on, just a couple of other things, because if these items are requested, then your application will definitely get sent to me. In your personal statement, if there are things that require explanation, so let's say you applied to a diploma program, you were right out of high school, something happened and you crashed and burned, it's okay to explain that in your personal statement. Or if something happened in your personal life that impacted your marks, that's a good place to explain that. Because it helps us to evaluate how you got here, right? And whether you're going to be in a good place to be successful. Letters of reference, it is pretty much a given that if you've graduated from a program in the last 10 years, we really need an academic reference that can speak to your ability to do classwork, and an employment reference as well. So just a couple of things to kind of keep in mind.
Thank you, Mickie. Next key dates for you. So our next intake on campus will be September the 6th, and the deadline is coming up. It will be June 6, 2022. And if you are already planning for your next year, for 2023, our start date will be September the 5th, and deadline will be June the 5th. For the blended intake, our next start date will be in 2023, April 17, and deadline will be January 17. And we also have the 2024 as well there. If you are currently maybe thinking to apply in September 6 and you're still into college, you can always start that application. And once you complete the program, you can send those transfer to us. The transcripts.
We would give you what we call a conditional admission, meaning that it would be conditional upon you completing your current program, but by all means apply like soon, because we don't get all the applications in and then evaluate them all at one time. We do what we call rolling admission. So we would be making sure that as your applications come in, they get evaluated and you would be offered a spot. So.
And if you have any questions about financial aid, we have an amazing team that will be able to support you and provide more details. We have loans, awards, scholarships available depending of the option that you are taking. So there's different options available if you're a fully on-campus student versus a blended student. And if you have any questions, they will be happy to connect with you. So you can visit their website where you can find more details about the different options as well, and connect with them on the phone. And if you have any other questions about how to apply, the document that you need to submit, if you would like to chat with Mickie, if you would like to connect with one of our current students or alumni, we can always provide that connection to you. There's a few ways that you can connect with our enrollment advisors. The first one, if you're a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, you can connect with our team at learn.more@royalroads.ca. If you're an international citizen or a temporary resident, you can connect with us at learn.more.international@royalroads.ca. The other option is you can scan this QR WhatsApp code and you will be able to start chatting with us right away. So feel free to connect with us and reach. And sorry, I just saw that there was another question, so I got a little bit distracted. So I'm going to read the question for you, Mickie. What are the main career outcomes difference between the environmental science program versus the environmental practice program?
Okay, the environmental practice program is completely online. It does not have any on-campus portion at all. And as a result, it will not offer you any opportunity to improve your lab and field skills. So if that's something that you think you're going to need, that's probably not the best option for you. Otherwise, it's going to boil down a lot to what do you want to do next? The environmental science program is what we call cohort-based, meaning that students in the program are taking the same courses in the same order at the same time together. And that allows you to really forge some really firm friendships and social links that really help carry you through the parts of the program where, you know, maybe you're just really tired or you're not as strong in that area. Whereas the environmental practice program does not have that cohort structure. And so as a result, you've got more choices in terms of trying to tailor your program, but you have to be really on top of it for yourself in a way that doesn't necessarily happen for the on-campus program. In terms of employment, it really depends on what you want to do. If you are doing things that involve lab or field stuff, I would say you probably want the Bachelor of Science program. If you don't have any work experience in the environmental field at this point in your career, you may want to consider the on-campus program because you'll have that 9-month consulting project that many employers will look at and judge as being relevant experience post-graduation. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Mickie. I believe that is our last question from the chat box. Is there anything else that you would like to add or share with people at this point?
We would be delighted to hear from you. So yeah, if you have questions, Rhonda is happy to respond, and anything that needs to be passed on, she will definitely pass on. Check out our blog. The School of Environment Sustainability blog tells you lots about what's going on in our department and some of the research and things that our alumni have been up to. So that's also something that you can find online and updates regularly, and watch for some of our faculty webinars coming soon. So.
Thank you, Mickie, and thank you everyone that came today to learn more about the BSc program and all our team that was supporting us behind the scenes, and we look forward to connecting with you in the near future. Have a great morning, rest afternoon, or evening, depending where you are.
Oh, we got one more question that popped in at the last minute here.
What are the major research topics?
For the major projects, it varies from year to year depending on who we have as sponsors. So this year we have a project sponsored by the Capital Regional District on microplastics in wastewater. We have 2 sponsored by the Compost Education Center that are both looking at metals in garden soils in one form or another. We have a group that is doing sustainability mapping on the Royal Roads campus that's being sponsored by the Regenerative Sustainability Committee. And we have one that is doing a baseline assessment of a small local lake that's being sponsored by the Mary Lake Steward Society. So it can be lots of things.
Thank you, Mickie, and thank you everyone for your great questions. And now you have all the information, so if you want to connect with us, please reach out and we will be happy to assist you and answer any of your questions. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye for now.